Hi Mayank, a very warm welcome to the podcast. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, Kripal. Thank you for asking. What about you?
I'm also trying to pull along. It's the rainy season after all.
Yeah, exactly, man. Like it's raining heavily, like crazy in Mumbai. What about like at your city? And
I
what's
mean,
your
I hail from Delhi, so the rains over here are very bad. Your roads get waterlogged and all of that. Even in Mumbai, that's the case, right? If I'm not mistaken.
yes. Not like a waterlogging particularly, but yeah, like raining, like it's raining crazy actually, like
It's
from the
raining
last
crazy.
past week.
I can only imagine. And with the rain of water, there's also this raining of money in your career right now. Now that you got placed
No,
out of
no, no,
IIMK.
no, nothing like that, man. It's not that stuff actually.
I mean, currently you got placed as a consultant in Bain, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, yeah.
So how was what do you call, how did you land that job? What was the process like?
Sure. So, like when I joined IMK, so like there was a like in the first term we were having a summer placements. So yeah, so in a summer placements, I got a few consulting shortlists, and they were like, yeah, I got into a paid. So when I talk about a particular process, mainly for MBBs like a big three, so the process looks like you will like once you will get a shortlist, like maybe like a 15 or 20 odd students will get a shortlist out of a particular batch size, maybe a 300, 400, or whatever X number of students. Then they will like assign you a one-to-one buddy for particular like a 20 days. They will help you in the guiding like how the case interview will go like and what will be the interview process. And then it will be your D-Day when there will be a certain leadership team will come to your campus, or it might be an online setup as well where like the interview will be taken. So when we talk about an interview per se, so interview can be divided like more or less. Interviews will be in a case interview rounds. So if we dedicate a timestamp, so like around 10 to 15 minutes, there will be a few can be a behavioral questions or HR questions. Then a major portion or like around 30 to 40 minutes will be your case interview, and then they will wrap it up with like a few other pointers, maybe like again a behavioral question. So first round is generally taken by a manager or a senior manager of a team, and yeah, followed by two rounds of a partner, or maybe a one round by again senior manager, and then a round by a AVP or a partner.
But that's exclusively for the summer internship, if I'm not mistaken.
More or less, the process goes in a hand in like for the finals as well. But yeah, it
Uh-huh.
was in a case for me in a
And
summers.
and the one-on-one buddy that you mentioned, that's allotted to you from the company itself, or the placement
Yes.
cell acts over here?
No. From a company itself. So like big three and like certain like most of the consulting firms, as I am aware of, so they allowed you a one-to-one buddy for a mentoring or like to guide you like what will the process look like and how you can prepare for it. And yeah, like you also have a support system from your placement committee as well. So your seniors who are placed in the particular company will also help you in that.
And the one-on-one buddy program helps you with resources as well for preparation of the interview and stuff, apart from guidance.
Yeah, so like company do not provide any material or place like a preparation material is only provided by the placements committee or within the support system that a college provides you. Buddy is only to nurture you about like how you can like you
Better
need to go
approach.
from 0 to 5 or 0 to 10 from yourself, but how you can better approach your case interviews, or what can be a quick tips that they that help them.
That sounds really interesting.
Yeah,
Let's talk a
yeah,
little bit about your trajectory though. You are somebody who's had so many qualifications to your name. I mean, so many. You have CA, you have CS rank 14. So, what was the
yeah.
story all about? How did you have this clarity that I'll have all these qualifications to my name?
Sure. So like in a childhood, I really don't have any clarity particular relating like whether I will be doing MBA or like whether I want to make career in consulting person. Like I was pretty much sure like yeah, I will land up in a commerce background, like I will do or join a commerce. So I came from a Marwadi family, so general there's a tendency to do a commerce course, some sort of that. So my elder sibling is also a CA, so yeah, she advised me to to do a CA. So till CA or CS, I was very like I got a guidance from her like do a CA or a CS. Just one incident I would want to share here. So when I got a rank in a CS, so I was just interviewing with a quickly with a newspapers, local newspaper. So like they asked me like what is your career like goal, and what you will be doing in like after 5 years, or like what is your particular goal. And definitely I would like said them like I want to do an MBA in finance. Like till that time, like when I entered for an interview, I was not very sure. Like I was not even know like whether I will be doing MBA or like particular what was the thing. Just like I told them like I will do an MBA, and certainly the career molds from there. By that time, I was still in a 2 years time frame for completing my CA. So in a 2 years, I just got research particularly about what will be the career trajectory if I do an MBA. What will my career look like, and like I do the whole research. And by the time I cleared my CA in 2019, so by the time I was very clear like okay, I need to do a MBA now, and yeah, followed by a consulting
But
career as well.
that moment of Eureka, you landed in a conversation with a newspaper journalist. Said, yes, I'm supposed to be doing an MBA in
Yeah.
finance.
Yeah,
That
so it was like an instinct actually. Like I was not like my family or my any other person like don't know. Even I was not sure, not sure, but I don't know like whether I want to do or not. But yeah, when they asked me like if you have any plans for doing any masters or something, so by that time like CA and CS were not like they were professional courses, but they don't give a degree particularly in a master's degree. So like
exactly.
these are the professional courses. However, like recently they are like also given a master's degree. So now it's like a CNCS are considered as a master's degree. So yeah, that was
Acha, Mayank, another follow-up question is it not daunting given the fact that you're putting 7 to 8 years given CA, CS and IIM MBA, and then you're getting restricting yourself with an employment opportunity? Is it not daunting?
uh, nothing like that because like employment, I would say like these all courses opens up your like brains, your personality, and many more things. So these courses will help you actually doing a business or maybe doing any startup. So not actually I would say like the first thing like the 7 to 8 years. So it is like 4 plus 2, I would say 6 years to be
Mm-hmm.
very precise. And then
Mm-hmm.
like MBA actually like opens up a way to go and like to understand how a business works, maybe like from a scratch, like how you build upon a business when you do a job particularly. So you don't know like how you can build a business, but like doing an MBA opens up like from a zero, like you can how you can build a business actually.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
again,
how
like if
was
we take
yeah?
a real time example as well, like I was reading a novel from Ashni Grover. So like he has like done a certificate like a 4 year IIT course and then 2 years
Yeah,
course, and then
yeah,
he was like employed for around 10 years, and then he moved for a
yeah,
startup
yeah,
actually.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
So does it not discourage you given the fact that if I talk of a DO graduate who spent 3 years in an undergrad course is getting to land at Bain, and okay, even if she does an MBA and getting to land, does it not discourage you that I
yeah,
worked so
definitely.
hard?
Yeah. So it discourages a bit. So like currently like around 7 or 9 odd peoples are like will be joining Bain in our batch. So 3 or 4 I think so are freshers maybe, and like they have done like a 3 years course, like a maybe a BCom or
Exactly.
BBA, like again from a very reputed institution. I'm not uh, like saying that,
Discounting that. Yeah.
but yeah. But the thing is like it feels like yeah you have 2 years of work ex, you have been CN like again like your juniors maybe a 2 years level lesser than you as again joining at the same position. But yeah, it's a matter of maybe not a luck, but I would say like it's a fate that has been there.
But does this qualification, the CACS that you have by your name, does that add value when you rise up the ladder? Is it more probable for you to rise earlier than them, or how does it work out?
uh, it depends actually. So I would say ki, like it will not help me or anyone there. Definitely it will help. Firstly, like doing a CNCS and like then doing an MBA. So how does it help is like it opens up a few more colleges to me. Like I think like IIMA has a particular reservation, like they will take a top 50 rank holders, maybe a top 50 applicants of a CA and CS. Similar like to the IIM Kozhikode, they like have a certain marks allotted in their admission criteria, like for CA or maybe from a CFA background people. So the admission process got easier for those people.
I see.
Secondly, after joining MBA and landing up in a corporate, so like after like joining a corporate, I would say it's a matter of more about the performance and how you are performing. Definitely people back from a technical maybe like a CA background like can have a edge, not respect to particular performance or a appraisal, but yeah, they have a certain kind of like a learning, like they have already learned particular about certain of the industries. It might be your banking, or it might be insurance that we have learned over a particular period of a time. So it might help there. But with respect to a career trajectory, I would say it would be a same. But yeah, depends upon a
It would
performance
be an
actually.
equal footing. Yeah, makes sense, makes sense. You also mentioned that an MBA degree equips you with significant knowledge on how to found and get the businesses running. So do you think IMK was instrumental in helping you understand that, and how was it instrumental?
Yes, yes. So for me, so IMK is particularly a life-changing experience, I would say. For this matter, I would say, like for every other college, like maybe a top 5 or top 10 colleges, B school in the country, like it's a like a completely a life-changing experience. So what does B school provide is not only about your theoretical aspects of a business. So every subject there is a taught with a pedagogy, particularly related to a case related things. So we are given a certain like a business case a day before, and we need to read it up. Then again, there's a very practical exposure related to, like there's a one subject called as a business simulation. So for 10 days, for around like not like for 10 days, for around 15 hours a day, we were doing that simulation. So we were running a company, we were handling their manufacturing,
Operations. Yeah.
R&D, operations, finance, and a whole lot of stuff, like the entire gamut of a business. So it was a last sem subject. So actually, like when you say like a life turns takes a full circle. So what we have learned over 2 years, the last subject of like IIM Kozhikode that provided us a business simulation. So it is like its whole wrapped it up, particularly with respect to your R&D team, how you will coordinate with respect to your marketing team, can how they will coordinate, and they will fix up the prices and so on. So yeah, I would say like IMK really helped me, and like every other B school, where we have the persons making or understanding of business actually.
Makes sense, makes sense. Talking of all the B schools, what were the B schools that you got into when you were applying for CAT and got through all the interviews? And why did you choose
Uh,
IIM Kozhikode?
Sure, sure. So I got a call from K Indore, Shillong, and all the other baby IIMs and new IIMs. I didn't get a call from like ABC and L. So yeah, so the first thing, like it was the best of a call in my hand, and secondly, like although it was having a bit location disadvantage to me, like coming from a north states of the country, so going to again to the farthest of the country. But yeah, like when I looked at the placements reports and compared like Indore and Kozhikode, so I found like getting a consulting job is a bit easier, or like a relatively easier in a Kozhikode as compared to Indore.
No,
So like in a placement report, I found like around 35% of batch got placed in a
in
consulting, and
consulting.
followed by a finance like a 20 or 22%. So yeah, that helped me to decide like I should go and choosing a
IIM
K over
Kozhikode.
a Indore.
And how were you so sure that you're going to ditch finance and pursue consulting exclusively? That yes, you're going to
Uh,
pursue consulting.
yeah. So okay. So the thing was like coming from a finance background, like the major, like the first priority of P1 for me was to go into land into a finance jobs, a co-finance jobs. It might be like your JPMC, JP Morgan, or it might be uh, Goldman. When I was talking with my senior, so he gave me a thought like try for a consulting actually. So like before joining more or less I was like okay, either I will go in a finance, or might we can try a bit more about, like I was not sure about the consulting, but yeah, consulting was in a up to mark.
Acha, acha. Consulting is the real sauce that is sold to everybody, that whatever
Uh-huh.
domain they are into,
Yeah, yeah.
take up
So
consult.
so in a college, so it goes like you are like when we talk about geopolitics, so it is like for manufacturing, countries are preparing or having a supply chain in a China plus one. So in a B schools, it like every other student prepares for a consulting plus one. So they have a
Exactly.
first preference as a consulting, and the other one can be either finance, or it can be marketing, or can be a
Yeah,
product role
yeah,
as well.
yeah. That's
So
a
yeah,
wonderful analogy you do. That's a
yeah.
wonderful analogy. And once you landed at I am Kozhikode, and why is it called Kozhikode? I mean, is that the natural language like people often call it
So it took
Kozi?
actually around like 6 months to understand like how to pronounce it actually. So it was earlier when we joined or we got admission. So it was like when I was telling my relatives, so it was like I am cozy code, and
No.
like completely like it transformed. And when we are returning from our college, so when everyone says like it's IIM Kozhikode, no, so like we were like, no, it's like IIM Kozhikode.
Or-
So yeah, it's like,
Yeah, then they must be wondering what is the new IIM, right?
yeah, yeah.
And also it is called the Godzone campus, like only because it's placed in Kerala, or is there another reason as well? Like why is it Godzone campus?
Okay, so firstly, it is yes, like it is located in the Kerala, surrounded by a beauty of a nature. So when you see like literally like campus is not a place where you will only study. It is like more or less like a surrounded by like literally like a very amazing weather there, or maybe an amazing space that you got. When I say like there's a one saying like you are reading in a clouds, or like the classes are between like taking into the clouds, and literally that happens like when we are opening our hostel gates or maybe a windows. So like we are like literally like we are in a heaven, or maybe like surrounded by the clouds actually. And like people
Wow.
may say, but is yeah, like I would say like it is one of beautiful or most like
The most
beautiful
iconic
campuses, yeah,
campus. Yeah, makes sense,
across.
makes sense. When you were preparing for CA, you used to read 12 to 14 hours every day and prepare by yourself. But now that you transitioned into a classroom, what were your first impressions like when you had to
Uh,
learn with 60 other people? I mean, there are much more number of people, of course.
Yes, yes. No, no, no. Particular like class strength. So it is a 60. So for a particular subject, we are like around 60 or 65 odd people separated across the different sections in our IIMs. When we talk about like comparing study patterns in a CA and your MBA, so yeah, CA is like a quite a different. So it is more about a theoretical and going into a deeper and deeper roots of every like a subject that we are given. Like it might be a accounting or it might be a finance. So we will go in a very depth of it, but do a very theoretical analysis. However, when we do in a MBA and sitting in a classroom and having a discussion, so it is more or less like subjects are framed in such a manner we will not go in a very depth of each and fundamental like each topic, but we will just touch upon it and we will move
Superficially.
to a different, yes, we will jump into a other aspects of that subject. And yeah, classroom discussions like definitely help, and like it is like a more or less I would say peer-to-peer discussion that happens in a class makes a B school experience of worthy that we are
Wow.
describing. Like okay, like it's a like a very good experience.
And what were your first impressions like after reaching the campus? How do IMK's professors get the rigor going? That yeah, you are supposed to work this hard. Yeah.
So a rigor, like some of a rigor that is provided with the help of professors, and some like our crazy friends that provide us. So there's a, like a cutthroat competition. So
Oh
there's
yeah.
not a single time like you can think like okay, I'm ahead of a particular set of students, or it might be like you are doing a good and you can do a good. So it's like a race that like every other people is near to you. You if you think like you are ahead, you are completely wrong. It might be like other person can be like come next to you and can take you behind.
Yeah. Why Three Idiots Valley line? Life is a race. If you don't run
Life is
fast, somebody else will
yeah.
come ahead.
So it is yeah, but yeah, like there's a like amazing like cultural fest and other things
Yeah.
that chills out or like balances out all the academic rigor and the placement process or hardship in the placement process.
Yeah. Talking of the cultural fest though, how was the extracurricular participation in the campus? Like, do you guys get a lot of opportunities, or how are the scenes like?
Yeah, yeah. So extracurriculars, I would say like a plethora of opportunities in the extracurricular as well. So there are around like 10 committees or 10 plus clubs as well. So committees are different, clubs are different. So they organizes like an every month we would have a certain maybe a sports competition. It might be a cultural fest, or it might be annual festival, or again can be alumni meet or something or other. So yeah, so every month we will be having a certain types of activities that will do a balance, as I mentioned, particularly with respect to academics and your placements.
Wow, wow, wow. And about the pedagogy again. So, what's a typical lecture like? What's a typical idiosyncratic IMK lecture like? How do
Okay,
professors go about it?
so pedagogy, I would say like every other like top B schools, it's a case based. Like as I mentioned before, like also, so they will provide us with a case of a like a maybe from a company. It might like more or less it would not be an Indian company. Very rare. It's like we found a Indian company cases, but
Exactly.
like it can be a international companies or some certain situation that in the past that those companies or any startups has faced. So the case like ranges from it might be as small as like around 8 pages, or it can be as huge as like 50 or 70 odd pages. So we are just given 2 days before, or maybe 1 day before, we need to read that case. We are like formed with groups of 4 to 5. We need to discuss among ourselves, and we need to like prepare for a case, like what are the facts, what can be the like a present situation, and how it can be, what can be problem, like a solution for this problem.
Yeah.
Again, when we lecture starts, so when I talk about time, so it is IMK's lecture generally it is around for 45 minutes to 1 hour.
45 minutes
So
to 1 hour.
yeah, 1 hour, mostly 1 hour, I would say. Oh, interesting. Okay, 1 hour or 1 hour, 1 hour 50 minutes actually.
Mm-hmm.
So in that, the professor will discuss about like a certain groups will be allotted. Like, okay, this group will discuss about the facts, or this group will discuss about what is the current situation, and so on. We are might again be assigned with a certain PPTs for that particular case, and the 2 or 3 odd groups will be presenting to the whole class, and then we will like there will be a class discussion, like what is like my opinion in regard to the problem that the company is, and like what the other group is saying. Based upon the discussion, maybe in the final 15 or 20 minutes, like for 1 hour, we will discuss, we will present, and we will have a very good class participation. We will class discussion, and in the last 15 to 20 minutes, professor, based upon his
Will be
experience and
summarized.
from the from our last previous batches, what the feedback he has got, so he will share with us, and like this is how it goes.
And the classes are spanned all over the week, Monday to Friday or Monday to Thursday?
No, Monday to Friday, and even like on a Saturday and Sundays, you were like a certain they were visiting or a guest faculties. So
Wow.
even on Saturdays and Saturdays, we do have a classes.
That's a
It
little
might be like
rigorous
yeah, academic wise, I would say a bit rigorous
compared to
comparison
the
to
rest
IIM.
of the IIMs. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And Monday to Friday, what's the maximum threshold like? It's 9 to 4, or until how long do the lectures
No,
last?
no. So first lecture starts at 9:15,
Mhm.
and the last lecture officially it goes at 8:30, I would say.
Wow.
8:30. No. 8:30 again a lecture starts, and it goes till 10.
Wow.
9:45. 9:45 is the last lecture time. But generally, like 8:30 to 9:45 slot is not there, so it
Mhm.
is like till 8.
On an average, though, you guys study until 8, Monday to Friday.
Yes. So
OMG, that
complete
is a lot of
no.
work.
So completely there's like no. So complete like
Yeah.
there's like a whole there's like be like not a jam packed day. So it will be
Yeah.
like a 4 lectures spread across 1 hour for a 4 hours in a
Mhm.
day, or maybe a 5 lectures. So there
Six
will be
hours
a
of
time
lectures, I
gap time.
believe. 6 hours of lectures. Makes
Yeah,
sense,
five
makes
to
sense.
six.
And what about the marking? The same thing, relative grading and all of that, just like the rest of the
Yes.
IIMs.
Yes. So there will be a relative grading. So
Mhm.
if the course is like, it might like suppose like when I joined, so I was thinking like this course is a bit difficult, or it might be like I'm not having a relative advantage to the other class. Like
Yeah.
it might be subject from stats or economics. But
Yeah.
yeah, so the rest of the people who are not coming from an economics background will have a same point of view
Equal
that I
footing.
am going to,
Yeah.
yeah. And like relatively, like if the subject is difficult for me, so it will be a difficult for most of the class. So again, it will get a balanced out when we do a relative grading.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I talked about components of a final grading, so a subject is like a professor can have a certain components over which a student will be graded. So it might be like a midterm paper and an end term paper. Then can be a quizzes and assignments. Then it can be a end term project, certain proportion given to that. And it might be a class participation, a certain percentage of weightage given to that as this component. So this culminates to like a whole composite score that will be uh,
Makes sense. A holistic way of looking at things makes sense. And you also mentioned that the pedagogy is case driven exclusively, and all if you get to give presentations. So the presentations are evaluated on the presentations that you give during
presentation.
discussion.
Yeah.
Wow.
So even presentations are evaluated, but not all the presentations. It might be like a final presentation of a project will be only
Acha.
evaluated.
Acha. And what are the specializations and electives offered? Is there something that is really individual to IIMK? Is there something very special that's offered?
Yeah. So a unique thing about IMK, like particularly about a specialization. So generally, IIMs do not provide any specializations. IIMs have a general MBA. However,
Mhm.
IIMK have come up with a new course called as a PGP Finance. So in that, like you get a degree of MBA in a finance only. Then
Achha.
again, there's a one course PGP LSM, Liberal
Mhm.
Studies and Management. So you
Mhm.
will get more or less your electives or maybe subjects will be from your HR and OBs
HR domain. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
papers.
Yeah, makes sense.
Uh, Electives, I'd say like there is like a
In
whole
general
lot of
management,
electives in a
yeah.
year, like around
Yeah,
100 plus electives in a second year.
100 plus
So
elect.
yeah, so it ranges from your finance subjects and then marketing, OB, HR, economics, strategy, and so on. So like yeah,
And we have faculty for all of these subjects in the campus.
yeah,
Wow, that's really
have
efficient.
uh,
Let's talk a little bit about the placements now. So you already mentioned that consulting is where 35% of the students get placed into. After consulting, finance is the domain that most of the students get
finance,
placed.
yeah, finance and marketing.
And marketing. Any other domains that the students get placed into apart from these three?
The most fascinating or other most shocked role that I found was a product role that like people were also more fascinated towards that. So it was a
Mhm.
bit surprising factor to me. So product role also get into a limelight for the IT students like
Yeah.
IITs or like these engineers.
Uh, so, Mayank, for example, a person is a part of the batch, he's having poor grades or something else is a blot on his resume. What are these essential factors that might hurdle his selection in the reputed companies, the top tier companies?
Okay, so like every company have a like a different like when they shortlist a candidate, so like they look particularly very way differently from a consulting CV to like when we saw finance CV. So actually like I was doing CV vetting for most of the juniors and even for my batch as well. So when I got into consulting and I got to know like how the consulting how consulting firms shortlist students. So I found like consulting CVs are very particular when they say like academic, then comes your work ex and followed by your PORs and extracurriculars. So they want a very balanced CV across all the subsections.
Mhm.
Again, for MBBs, it's more like having a spikes in like out of five subsections, having a three or four spikes in every other section.
Yep.
But when we go about like a student when like for a junior when I was vetting a CV, so he was like a national swimmer or it might be like a national level TT player. So it might be a very good pointer for a consulting firm. So putting into that point in a consulting CV, that might be a very good. But for when we go about for a marketing or might be a IT role, so it might not be a that good and like so it is like a more relative based on upon a domain that you are applying to. So yeah, this is the one thing.
Consulting looks for a balanced CV, MBB looks for spikes. That's the takeaway.
Balanced plus spike actually. Yes.
Balanced plus spikes.
So
That's
CV
yeah.
should be a balance. It should not be like a very academically weighted or like a heavy on the academic side, but you do not have any like a PORs or like
Experiences
you
and
do
all,
not
yeah.
have any leadership qualities. Like even after a 25 years, like you have spent and you haven't been into any of positions where you have led any of a team. Maybe a lead team can be a member of like a five or maybe a seven only, but you should possess a leadership quality. So like they
Wow.
look at it.
Wow, that makes sense. And talking of another key aspect, you already mentioned that there's a one-on-one buddy assigned to you when you land a what do you call consulting interview. But apart from that, for cracking case competitions, is there anything else that you get to do at the campus?
So as I mentioned, so we like there will be a one buddy from a companies that are allotted, so he will take like a maybe based upon a time that he's got here, like he's getting from a his busy schedule or might be from a case team, so he will on a like from for in my case, so he was taking one case each in a week on a weekends. Again, apart from that, we are allotted with a one person from a senior team or a senior batch
Batch.
that will be again taking up a case, maybe a two or three cases a week on a weekdays, like depending upon a time. And
Mhm.
then again, we will form a group in our batch. So we were like, it's generally advisable to have a group of maybe a three persons doing the case prep. So yeah, so this was a structure like for regarding the preparation.
A regular case prep is what makes you adept at solving all of them. That is your key takeaway. And you mentioned that you got placed on day zero. So what was your learning after the placements? Like apart from vetting resumes, did you get to do anything else productive at IIMK for the rest of the year?
Yeah. So getting placed, like I remember I got placed on a it was 13th September. So our batch started on like 28th or like 1st of July. So
Yeah.
like around 2.5 months of getting placed, and like yeah, in a dream company. So like particularly for a summer placements, like the when the batch was starting, like prepping for for preparing for assignments or like relating to a company's assignment or a company's aptitude test. So most of the times we were helping our batchmates in yeah, what can be like how you solve the aptitude test, or how you can prepare, or like how you can go for an interview process. uh yeah, so that was be a thing like till the September that was going on. And then yeah, I was also much more focused about, like much more cautious and focused about my academics. So I was just having a particular thing in my back of my mind to get into certain top 5 or top 10 percentile. So yeah, so focusing more or less for another year into academics, and then comes your junior batch, and you are again equipped with a whole lot of activities with respect to guiding or mentoring the student or your juniors.
Makes sense. Makes sense. You also mentioned that there are a lot of these cultural fests going around. But when we talk of industry exposure, what happens to take care of that? What are the kind of activities?
Okay. So, industry exposure, there's a one particular cell called E-Cell, Entrepreneurship Cell. So, they organizes seminars or workshops from the industry leaders. Secondly, there's a one IIMK Live, so it supports for your startups and all those things. Then
Mm-hmm.
comes your subjects as well, like whatever the electives that we have opted. So, your professors have a very good connection or a networking in the industry. So every other subject or every other professor in a subject introduces with a guest faculty or a industry leaders with respect to the things or the theoretical portion that we are studying. So
Mm-hmm.
this is how IMK balances particularly with respect to the
Acha, the
industry work.
events go along hand in hand. That is what you're trying to say.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. That makes sense. And about the IMK Live, does it help students land funds as well, like initial rounds of funds, or no?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, this is a IMK Live. So it is a startup. It is a particular body that supports your startup system at IMK. So it also organizes a one annual fest called a Dhanda. So in that, IMK students, IMK pass outs, and even though other persons or like other budding entrepreneurs can come there and raise funding. So
Acha.
yeah, so it is I think so. It's an annual, and like it's starts in a month of January, so it goes for around some days, and like yeah, people get funding to
People
that.
get funding. Wow, that's really
Yes, yes,
interesting to sound. And the funding to the alums help you raise funds, or
yeah,
are there
yeah.
other sources?
Professors and LMs.
Wow, wow, wow. That's a really synergized network.
Yes.
Talking of synergized network, what is the diversity of the batch like? Like IIM Calcutta is known exclusively for engineers. What is IIM Kozhikode known for?
Uh, Diversity, I would say, like a pretty much diverse when we talk about diversity on an academic basis. So yeah, so people like, again, majority is from engineers. So
Hmm.
we have engineers are from IITs and NITs, and again from all other colleges. But yeah,
Hmm.
like there's a lot of in a recent past there are like a lot of students coming from a finance background as well. So they have allotted a certain grading, like in a benefit or like a relative benefit to a finance persons, like as well they have introduced a finance course. So they are promoting, I would not say promoting, but yeah, they are giving some certain advantage to the finance students. So people from a CFA background or a CA and CS, or maybe like a DU university or top 50 NIRF ranking university are coming to a campus actually. So
And
like
the
a well
courses they're
diversified.
from, the courses, is there anybody from like something as diverse as English honors or political science honors or courses like these? Or say biochemistry, dentistry, and all of
Yes.
that?
Yeah, dentist, I would say, like yeah, yeah, so few people have a dentist or maybe a fashion designer, and like a economic not specifically regarding to English, but yeah, there are one of a was a doctor actually. Again,
Wow.
another people was a fashion, like she was a fashion designer. Again, like in our batch there's a fashion designer and a model, I would say. So like doing a whole other assignments, and yeah, coming to a B schools.
Wow, wow, wow. You mentioned one of the most wonderful things that you got placed at day zero just within a couple of months of starting the course.
Yes.
What are a few things that the students should do to be in your position once they start up with an MBA? What are a few
Okay.
things that they should do? Now, apart from pursuing CNCS, of course, that is a long process, but yeah.
Yeah. So when I got admission, so I contacted one of my relatives who has passed out from IIM Calcutta. So he advised just me one thing, like do not like just relax for a now. Do not try to do certain things. But yeah, he also advised to make a first draft of your CV, or like come up with a first cut of your CV. So he shared with me a template of like a generally followed in IIMs. So like I was when I joined like on the last week of the June. So when students were preparing or like struggling to prepare, like what can be their points around for a CV, like CV takes a whole lot of time actually. Like it's a very repetitive and very iterative process. So by that time, I would like when I entered only, like I was having a first draft ready, and I was just only to just refine
Submitted.
those points. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, we I have also refined it, but like yeah, I was having a comparatively a very like a very competitive advantage with respect to the other folks. Like when those people were starting preparing CV, I have prepared a CV, and I was started with my consulting casebook
Ambitions. Yeah.
preparation actually.
Yeah. That makes sense. So probably reaching out to mentors for guidance in advance will really make the difference.
Yes. Like preferably if you can reach to your college alums only, that would be a really like a fabulous. But however, like even you find like a person coming from a from a Calcutta, Calcutta, and he has a very good relative or very good connection in Ahmedabad or maybe in any other college. Like more or less, these colleges works in a more or less in a similar manner.
Makes sense. Makes sense. One follow-up question to this will be: if you had to prove to all the people out there that IIM Kozhikode is the best B school in India, what would be one reason that you would defend this with?
Okay, so I would take this like as a like I am Kozhikode is developing its uh, like it's coming out very fast or maybe very quickly with respect to the other B schools. I would say this.
Yeah.
So when we talk about NIF ranking, so it was around at a fifth of a position when I joined the college, and like in a 2 years,
Now it
like
has
they are now
replaced
it's like a yeah
Calcutta.
Calcutta. So it is
Yeah.
not like a particularly giving ranks by NIF, but actually the things coming or like things developing or evolving in like across the like in a campus. So when we talk about academic, although it is a academically rigor process, but it trains you to the very respect to your theoretical as well as to the industry exposure.
Yeah.
Again, with respect to the placements, like as I mentioned, 33% like get placed in your consulting, all the MBBs, and then your Accenture and other big four, like top consulting firms are coming to the campus. So the placements are good, your academic is good, and then like they have a lot of extracurricular. You have a good campus, good infrastructure. So that makes a IMK like moving very quickly or in a very fastest manner with respect to the other colleges.
The academic depth makes a world of difference. That's
Yes,
what you want to emphasize that.
yeah.
And another question is, you spent at least 2.5 to 3 million rupees on your MBA degree. Do you think the institutions justify it? Whatever you got on your plate.
Yes, definitely. So the experience, like when I started, like the experience that these schools provide is like on a completely different. So when I joined the college, I was particular very a very different personality. So like if any interviews or any other thing like where I was interviewed, so I told them like when I joined like I am Kozhikode, I was completely a different personality, and when I was coming out, I was completely transformed. So like the experience, the classroom discussions, like the friends that you make, their connections, and like the way that you think that develops a B school is a completely different thing, and you can't like understand or can't learn those things while you are like you can learn in a corporate journey as well, but it takes a time. So it might take like around 7 to 8 years or maybe a 5 to 7 years. But however, when you join a MBA colleges, you can learn there in a 2 years or maybe in a year or year or 1.5 years time frame.
Again, special emphasis on the peer-to-peer discussion. That's what you want to
Yes.
emphasize. Wow. Now that we've come towards the end of this episode, I'd like to ask you, what is your advice to all the aspirants out there who are yet to embark on their MBA journey or are currently pursuing their MBA journey? What would
Yeah.
your
So
advice be?
The first thing I would say, be consistent. Whether you are a cat aspirant, like you are preparing for a cat, or it might be like you have entered in your like you have entered into your MBA college and you are in a first year. So be consistent. So at times, what happens is like there will be a many ups and downs, and like your career, your time will in the college or before joining a college will not be like on a very good note or very on a bad note, like a low note. You need to be not like not to get demoralized or not to get demotivated. Just be there, be on the ground. Basically, particularly with respect to a 2 years you what you will be spending in your college, be there, and yeah, you will sail through that actually. So most of the times, like when I got like term 2 or term 4 results, I was completely shattered when I saw results. Like I was not performing well, but yeah, so I was there till the ground, like till the last phase of that term's results, and yeah, so I scored a pretty decent percentage. So you need to be there, you need to be consistent. Second, I would say is like ask for a help from your seniors, or it can be from your LMs or anyone out there. So like people generally like do not ask for help, and if you don't ask for a help, you're like you will not be you will not get any help from a person from their end. Just ask it, and people are really approachable there, maybe in an MBA college or even after the MBA colleges, or like some like there's a whole holistically, like you can ask for a help, I would say. Don't afraid to ask for a help.
People are willing to help only those who ask for it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, so like even a person is not coming to me, how I will know like this person needs my guidance or my help? So it was a
exactly.
case particularly like when we are like when we were in the first year. So till the term 1 or till the term 2, I was not asking for a help with respect, like for respect with respect to my assignments or anything with respect to a placements. I was not taking a help from my batchmates as well as from a seniors. But yeah, if you want to survive, you need to like you need to also support others, and you need to take a help from others. Otherwise,
Wow.
like it
It's a
takes
two-way thing. Hmm.
yeah.
Makes sense, makes sense. And you also got to feature in the director's merit list. Is there
Yeah.
anything specific that helped you achieve it apart from consistency, like managing your time and etc.?
um, I would say the one thing was like preparing a bit smartly. So like we formed a group in a such a way like when like there's around 8 sections spread it up with the 60 students in each section. So in a section when we when we are first having an initial conversation, so I try to get into do a bit of networking or like making of friends from a different background, and not only from like a heavy person having a knowledge in a specific to finance. So like in our group, we were having one person from maybe economics, one person from a statistician, and then again from coming from a marketing domain, and so on. So like those people helped me in cracking their specialized subjects, and I helped them in
You
cracking all
equip them
like
with
supporting
finance.
in a finance. So it is like because of this reason, like in our group around 3 people, like 3 or 4 people were in a DML, directors merit list. So like
Wow.
yeah, so your group helps you to perform a better actually.
Wow, wow, wow. That group must be the most iconic group of the institution, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it is
Huh?
not like that. Yeah, but yeah, like definitely in our, maybe like for us it was the best group for me, or actually
Yeah,
for
yeah.
our group. Yeah.
Because you got to be in it. Yeah.
Yes,
With
yes.
that spectacular advice, we come towards the end of this episode. I really appreciate the fact that you took time out from your busy schedule and gave me this opportunity of interviewing you. It was fun. It was real fun
Yeah,
getting to talk to you.
thank you, Kripal, for hosting me. Like it was really an honor, and like yeah, it will be. Thank you for having me today.